Mother Nature serves up an almighty storm at the taste. A father dies in an East Coast boating tragedy. A massive search to find any trace of a missing Air Asia flight. Concerns bushwalker complacency could cost a life. And tourists left stranded as a local icon closes.
This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening. The taste of Tasmania descended into chaos this afternoon as a storm front with winds of up to 100 kilometres per hour slammed into Hobart. Thousands of patrons forced to flee indoors as the storm lashed the annual event.
From this to this, the moment the storm front hit Hobart. Crossing the city in a matter of minutes, the 100-kilometre winds destroying most in its path. Thousands of patrons at the annual Taste of Tasmania were rushed indoors as winds ripped through the outdoor eating areas. And this is what damage it left behind. Tables and chairs overturned, trees fallen and umbrellas completely destroyed.
So we had a wind gust in Hobart of 100 kilometres an hour around about 12:30, so it was a very sudden jump in the winds and accompanied by some short bursts of heavy rain, a little bit of hail as well.
But the show must go on. Although a shaky start to day two, event organisers still revelling in the numbers.
Most of the stall holders that I spoke to yesterday said that they were very, very busy, as busy as last year. Some were even busier than last.
The taste continues until the 3rd of January. Amira Vartstra, Southern Cross News.
A boating trip for a Campbelltown father and his 2 young children has turned to tragedy after he died in waters off St Helens this morning. The family was in Georges Bay when rough conditions tipped the boat over near the notorious Barway. Our reporter Yaz Dedovic filed this report earlier.
A 45-year-old father and his 2 sons were travelling in a medium-sized boat just after 8 a.m. this morning. The 2 boys, aged 12 and 16, also had a family friend on board with them. They were heading down the St Helens Barway, which is a notorious channel that connects Georges Bay to the sea, when their boat capsized. But
back home now, and 3 major police helicopter rescues in as many days has sparked concern for the safety of adventurers in the Tasmanian wilderness this summer. Police search and rescue warning people to be prepared to avoid any danger.
It's the busiest time of the year for the state's rescue chopper. The sometimes rugged Tasmanian wilderness giving adventurers a rough time. Police encouraging the exploration of the state's natural wonders, but warning to be safe while doing so, taking the elements into account.
Certainly take an EPIRB, let people know where you're going and what you're doing and when you're expected home.
Caitlin Barry, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us. Coming up after the break tonight, an amazing leap of faith saves the life of a young boy. And hundreds of passengers use their mobile phones to call for help in a deadly ferry inferno. Welcome back. A major operation is ongoing tonight to rescue hundreds of passengers who are stranded on a huge ferry that's on fire. The ship was sailing from Greece to Italy when a blaze broke out about 100 kilometres offshore on the vehicle deck. At least 2 Australians with dual citizenship have been confirmed as being on board, but we don't know yet if they're among the 200 or so passengers already rescued or are still stranded on board waiting for bad weather to clear.
Smoke billows from the burning ferry and inside flames roar. The ship is being towed towards Italy and dozens are still waiting to be rescued. Most of the passengers are European. There are no reports of any Australians on board.
Now to the final in our 3-part series, which is examining the 2014 fortunes of our state's political leaders. Tonight, state political reporter Andrew McCarthy speaks to Premier Will Hodgman, the man leading the Liberals from 16 years in the political wilderness.
They say a year is a long time in politics, so 16 years in opposition must seem like an eternity. Liberal leader since 2006, Will Hodgman's had a long wait for Tasmania's top job, particularly after losing the seemingly unlosable poll in 2010.
There's certainly some tough times in opposition. The Liberal Party needed to go through a period of re-understanding how it sits in how it sat in the political landscape.
The verbal sparring of Parliament resumes in March. Andrew McCarthy, Southern Cross News.
Now a look at business and finance with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed almost 1.5% higher with strong gains across all sectors. The ASX 200 index rising 79.3 points. And a short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 81.34 US cents and 66.71 euro cents. Well, still to come on Southern Cross News, a man miraculously survives a 30-metre plunge off a cliff. And the vision that will leave you speechless. The worst drivers of 2014 caught on camera. Welcome back. A man has survived a 30-metre plunge off a cliff in Sydney's eastern suburbs. The man drove his car through a fence and over the cliff at Clovelly. Locals heard the man calling for help. Paramedics treated the man before winching him to safety. A Melbourne truck driver has told of a close encounter with a dangerous driver that almost ended in disaster. It's one of dozens of incidents captured by dash cams across Australia this year, showing road users at their very worst.
Truck driver Greg Camilleri finds himself on a highway to hell.
I've seen a white Commodore just acting a little erratic in the right-hand lane.
Watch closely as this motorcyclist is hurled onto the car ahead by the texting driver coming up behind. The lucky rider escaped alive.
Well, Michael Maney joins us now with all the day's sport news. And Michael, the Hurricanes, they're ready for their New Year's Eve cricket clash.
Yes, they are, with the Strikers who are fresh off a win over the Scorchers. Also tonight, the fastest Super Maxi may have crossed the line, but the battle is far from over in the Sydney Hobart, and the queens of the track fight out a thrilling Latrobe Wheel. Welcome back. The third test between Australia and India is in the balance and set for a thrilling finish at the MCG tomorrow. The Aussies dismissed India for 465, but Chris Rogers and Shaun Marsh have put them in a winning position. They lead by 316 runs late on day 4.
Australia started day 4 with Virat Kohli's fighting words ringing in their ears. But Johnson left with a message for India and Kohli. He's ready to go with the ball tomorrow.
Well, Alex Hart is still on Constitution Dock in Hobart tonight. Alex, the likely handicap winner, is still at sea. How are conditions for them?
Michael, the weather's not looking all that good at the moment. We've had a pretty strong northerly blowing for much of the afternoon. That's now turned into a westerly, which will strengthen tomorrow. In fact, there's a gale warning in place for coastal waters, which could spell trouble for the boats still at sea. We've got about half of the fleet still to finish this race, taking into account the 12 retirements we've seen in total so far. Hopefully, these conditions don't see any more yachts forced out of the race. Michael.
Thanks, Alex. Alex Hart there. Gusto has taken out this year's Melbourne to Devonport despite an unusual lack of wind throughout the race. Meanwhile, Fork in the Road has won line honours in the Launceston to Hobart for the third time in 4 years. Skipper Gary Smith and crew shaving a good 3 hours off the race record in what was a dream run. About 80 yachts are still Hobart bound, with landfall tipped to be last home. And Rach, that's a pretty comprehensive sport.
You've had a very big day today, Michael. Well done. Thanks for that. Well, tomorrow's weather forecast is coming up next from the Taste of Tasmania with Peter Murphy.
As you know, some people say I should be in an institution. Well, here I am in the institution known as the Taste of Tasmania, an institution in Tasmania and an institution for great weather. What have we had today? All the blowy winds, the rain, the thunder, the lightning. Of course, there was sunshine as well, and I think the weather is clearing up for tonight. Lucky that I'm here for the finest weather of the day. Let's see what it was like around the state today. Hobart did get to a top of 29 degrees, Launceston 25, Burnie 20 and Devonport 21. Flinders Island had our high of 31 degrees. degrees. Denali, the top rainfall with 9 millimetres. Swansea 30 degrees, Bushy Park 29, Geeston reached 28, Orford and St Helens 27, Strawn 23, Low Head and King Island a top of 19. Now the cloud with the front is over Victoria and Tasmania, as we know. Low-level cloud in the cold air. Right behind it, some patchy cloud over the far north, bringing thunder to the tropics. And the cloud over Tasmania gradually increased during the afternoon, as you see there on the close-up. Tomorrow another front is set to cross. That's going to herald a colder southwesterly change. The high moves over the bight while a couple of troughs sit over the mainland. West and northwesterlies tomorrow, 20 to 30 knots, and they'll turn southwesterly as the front moves through, reaching 35 knots. Swells to 4 metres. A couple of warnings, a gale warning, that's from Stanley to St Helens Point, and also from Wineglass Bay to South East Cape. And also we have a strong wind warning for all remaining waters, including a small craft wind alert for the lakes. Let's get into tomorrow's forecast. Let's hope it's a bit better. Partly cloudy and 22 in Hobart, Adventure Bay 21 and Tarraleah 19. A sunny 23 in Launceston, Devonport and Bridport partly cloudy, a partly cloudy 20 in Burnie, a possible shower and 19 in Strawn, a cloudy day forecast for Marrawar. Fine and sunny in the east, and Helens 22, Swansea 23 and Whitemark 20. The UV very high to extreme. Now, a possible shower developing in the west on Wednesday, but fine for most of the state. Showers in the west, central and south on New Year's Day. Fine on Friday, apart from an afternoon shower in the west. A hot day for Perth tomorrow. Possible showers for Adelaide, Melbourne and Brisbane. Sunny for Canberra and Sydney. And there you have it, the current temperatures. Not as warm as last night and cooling down quite significantly as we expect that front to cross tomorrow and change conditions to a colder southwesterly airstream. There is a reason why I'm actually here at the taste of this table, Rachel. It's because there are 650 extra seats and I've been lucky to find one, and I'm not moving very far away from the Wagyu platter either, not even for you.
Oh, it looks delicious, and I love seeing your legs out, Murph. Thanks for that. Well, that is your news for this Monday night. I'll be back with updates throughout the evening, and I look forward to your company tomorrow night at 6. But for now, on behalf of the entire team, good night.